Good morning, my friends. It's day 3. No, it's day 4 of Relationship Rockstar 2020. So we're smack dab in the middle. We're in 3 days, and today we're going to talk about something super important. Probably one of the most important things I think that you're going to learn in this challenge. So I'm very excited to share it with you today. How to quickly figure out the potential of a relationship that you're in. We want to be able to do that fast because we don't want to waste our time, right? Expecting more out of relationships than they can provide us. And so we're going to dig into that this morning. I'm Stacy Rocklein, and I'm a relationship literacy coach, and I'll be your coach through Relationship Rockstar 2020. I help people create, strengthen, and deepen their emotional connections. So this is a 7-day challenge. It's completely free. Thank you for joining me. A couple quick things. Every morning of this challenge at 9 a.m. I will be here live teaching something new, something fun, something light, something to help you set the tone for 2020 for all of your relationships. And I highly encourage you to come watch videos when you get a chance. If you can't do it in live, that's no problem because they are all recorded and on this page for you to check out later. And share them if you think someone else might be interested. This one is really important because this is, if you know somebody who can't figure out why they're not getting what they need out of a relationship, the answer may be here. So make sure that you share that with them. There's no homework tonight. So it's a great time to catch up if you haven't gotten started on the other things. We've started our appreciation chain. Hope you're still doing that. Oh, I don't have mine in front of me. I'm keeping up with it. Text bingo, so you can start to pull those people in closer to you, get conversations opened. And yesterday we picked our GPS, our word, our relationship word for 2020. I posted mine up over here. Share is mine. And today we're going to dig into intimacy, but keep it clean, people. We are digging into emotional intimacy. If you haven't downloaded your free workbook, all the worksheets and exercises and PDFs are in there, and you can go to relationshiprockstar.com to do that anytime. And then you'll have all of the material that goes along with the trainings. I've got notes up here, so if I ever look this way, it's not because I'm crazy. It's just because I'm checking to make sure I don't forget anything. That's about it. Okay, let's dive right in. So when you've got a relationship, you've got 2 people in it, and the potential for this relationship is only as great as what both people are capable of. Okay? The potential of the relationship is only as great as what both people are capable of. And I think intimacy, and I'm talking again about emotional intimacy, comes down to 3 different things. It comes down to the ability to connect, the ability to listen. I'm going to dig into these in just a second. The ability to really listen, and the ability to share vulnerably. So let's just pick those apart a little bit. When I talk about connection and the ability to connect, it's when you're able to find the intersection between 2 people, right? Between you and me. We can find what we have in common. If you think of everything that I believe, am interested in, anything about me, and it falls into this circle, right? And then anything that is about you, your experiences, what you believe, what's important to you is in your circle, just like a Venn diagram. When we overlap those, it's the intersection that helps us connect with each other. So it's being able to find what we have in common and where we intersect that allows us to connect. This is why sometimes you meet somebody and you just doesn't really work, right? You're not able to connect with a person because you guys can't find that intersection. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. We can't have a relationship with every single person walking the planet, but it is a really important skill. I like knowing that when I go into any situation, I'm going to be able to find that intersection between me and someone else. There's something that we have in common, and I'm going to work at it until I can find it so that we can make a connection. And then there are some people just that are not capable, right? You meet them where it just feels like, no, okay? The next thing is listening. Now, I want to talk about love listening because there's lots of different kinds of listening. But I think that love listening is when you are able to receive something that somebody's sharing with you, especially vulnerable things, without turning away from them. Okay, without turning away from them. So how are ways that we turn away? One way is that somebody shares something vulnerable with us and we kind of filter it through our own lens, and that makes us think of a story about us. And so then we come back with, oh, well, yeah, that happened to me, and we tell a story about us. So we just took off the attention to their experience and put it into our experience. Or sometimes, they're sharing something really vulnerable, they're sharing their emotions, and we just go, oh no, you know what? Let's just look on the sunny side. It's going to be okay. And we try to reassure them, or we try to give them the optimistic spin. And what we're doing is we're manipulating the situation. Now, I know that sounds like a harsh word, and I don't mean it to be harsh, but we're manipulating the situation to make ourselves comfortable. Or we decide we're going to problem solve, right? They tell us something and we're like, oh, that sounds terrible. I'm going to help you get out of here. So those are ways that we, instead of facing them and staying and turning toward them, we turn away from them. And that's not really love listening. Okay, the next step is being able to share vulnerably. Now, I personally think that sharing vulnerably means that you feel your emotions in front of somebody, like in real time while they're there. Not that you come back and you share something later and you kind of do it as a report. And not that you share your emotion, but it's from before, so it's not really relevant right now. And not that you just share everything, like you just tell all the things that have ever happened to you, but without any kind of like emotional aspect to them. Sharing vulnerably means like in the moment, feeling an emotion in front of another person while they're witnessing it. Okay, so those are like just definitions for those. So now I have a very advanced model that I created to help illustrate this. And it's made out of Legos, right? Because this is what I had. So I want to introduce to you the relationship step stool. I think this is a really easy way I created for understanding this concept, okay? We all walk around carrying around our relationship step stool. And this is how we figure out how we're going to relate to other people and what we're capable of. So I found myself a character. Look, she's a little redhead. I always kind of wanted to be a redhead. So I'm going to kind of break this down. If these are the different levels of this potential for the relationship, or it's my potential, what I'm capable of, okay? The bottom is connection. You can't even get off the ground in a relationship without connection. I'm good at this, right? Okay? This is one of my strengths, okay? I am good at connecting people. I can find the intersection between us. But let's talk about some of these other things, okay? I became aware, years ago, but not that many, that right here, in order to get fully onto this next level of love listening, you have to be able to fully receive without turning away from someone. I was not able to do that very well. Somebody else's big emotions were so uncomfortable to me that I wanted to get us the hell out of there, right? I want to problem solve. I want to reassure you. I want to go optimism. I want to tell you a story. I want to do anything so that we don't have to sit in those big, heavy emotions. So what that means is in any situation, in any relationship, look what I'm capable of. Only connection. That's not going to get me up here to intimacy. We'll get to that in a second. This is where my work was, to get comfortable in emotions so that I don't have to get us out of there and I can actually be a love listener. If you think you're listening but you are actually turning away from someone, you're really only here. You haven't gotten up here. So it's just information, just good information, right? So maybe you can get up here, right? You practice and you're like, okay, I can totally, I can listen, I can stay, I can be okay. I don't have to get us out of there. I can be there for you, right? Now you're elevating, right? Your relationship is rising to the next level. Awesome. But there's this one, sharing vulnerably. Another thing I totally sucked at, right? actually feeling emotions in front of another person. You can imagine, if I don't even like the way it feels to feel your feelings with you, am I going to share mine? No. So this is another level where you have to start being vulnerable and sharing yourself, feeling emotions in front of other person. I could tell you, I used to think that like I was sharing vulnerably because I would tell anybody anything about my life. I'm like, yeah, I have had all of these experiences, and in my experience of them, they have been painful, but I never reported emotions. I never had a feeling in the moment as I'm sharing it that feels vulnerable. It's just a report. So this is when you're actually feeling those feelings, is when you can get up to this level, okay? When you can get here, you, me, any of us, then we have potential to have intimacy in our relationships. So the first thing to really figure out is, what are you capable of? What am I capable of? My relationships could never get past that level if I didn't strengthen these other skills. So right now you can look at your relationships, and if you know that you don't have these yet, you know where your work is, right? You know why you're not getting more. It was when I started to work on these levels that I started to see where my relationships weren't intimate and I wanted more. That's where some of the pain comes in, and we're gonna get to that in just a second. Okay, this is where it gets exciting, okay? Now we meet someone else and they bring their step stool, and now we have a relationship, okay? Everybody comes with their own abilities, whether they're able to connect, to love, listen, and to share intimately and be vulnerable, okay? We put these together, and now this is our relationship. So what happens here? Let's make sure I'm not missing anything. If somebody else I can't really decide who I should go with. Like, there's Darth Vader. I mean, he probably has some intimacy issues, I would think. Okay, so let's say this is him, right? He can't even connect with people. He's so all about himself that there's no way. Our relationship is never going to get off the ground because he doesn't even care about what we have in common. He only cares about himself, right? He's going to wander away. It won't make any difference. We never connected, okay? Not him. Let's say the other person and I are able to have a connection, right? We can find what we have in common. Awesome. This is a connection. These relationships, there's nothing wrong with these relationships, okay? They're fun. They're functional. We have people in our lives that we see the intersection. They're not very intimate. They might be coworkers, girlfriends, maybe even marriages. And if this is all you ever want in a relationship, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's all about what you want. It doesn't matter. If you're content here, then that's perfectly okay. If this is all both people are capable of, this is all you can do. So it's important to notice this. And so what comes next? Let's say this little guy from the Lego movie, let's say he's capable of more, right? He can receive a share, but nobody's sharing. So that's untapped potential. Maybe I can also receive somebody's share. I can be a love listener, but again, neither of us are sharing with each other. So even though we're closing the gap, okay, we're closing the gap in our relationship, so we're getting closer and we're elevating a little bit, has potential, we might as well both be down here because we're not using that potential without anybody to respond, without anybody to be sharing anything, okay? So that would be the next level. But we're moving up this ladder, okay? Now, let's go here. Let's say this little guy right here. Actually, look, I have a Jedi. Jedis are probably capable of a lot of good stuff, right? Look at how this person is turning toward, right? Maybe I'm turning toward here too. No, I'm just playing. Okay. Let's say this person is capable of sharing vulnerably, okay? This person is able to receive. So that feels a little better, but this is where I think you get a vulnerability hangover. Actually, this is where you get it. Uh-oh. There's my person. Hold on. This thing's gonna fall apart. Okay. If he shares something vulnerable, has an emotional experience, and I'm not able to receive it, this is where you get that vulnerability hangover that Brene Brown talks about, where you share something And she talks about this in one of her TED Talks, right? She had a vulnerability hangover the next day. Part of it is because the thing is, like, you don't feel received. You don't feel like you've been received when you share something. It's really important that the other person's able to do that, or you just kind of feel like it's just hanging out there, right? I found out this the hard way. When I started to become able to share, I realized in sharing with people that I had in my life that I had a lot of people who couldn't receive that and just be in it. Just allow me to feel. Not problem solve me, not reassure me, not be optimistic, but actually just allow me to be. And it felt like my share was just getting dropped, not being held, no one was making space for it. So then you end up with a vulnerability hangover. Now, even if this person is able to receive, okay, the problem here is that it's not a two-way street, right? This person isn't getting anything. We're getting more intimate, but this person isn't getting your vulnerable share. So there can be a lot of pain for somebody in a relationship who has all of these capabilities and therefore wants this intimacy, but is with somebody who isn't capable of it. That can be very frustrating. Now, what happens when we're both up here? Let's get real close. Okay? Look. This is intimacy. This is what it looks like. Two people who can find the intersection between each other. Two people who can both receive vulnerable shares from each other, and two people who can feel emotions in front of each other and share. That's intimacy. Both people have to be capable of it, and you've got to want this in your relationship. So that's really the next piece is, what do you want out of this relationship? Maybe you don't even want this, right? If you just want to be connected and you're not really interested in this, know that going in. If you are with somebody who's not capable, you need to know that too, right? And then where's your work? So, simple model. I'm going to put this down now. Okay. We don't have homework, but these are the questions that I want you to think about, and I put them in the video description, right? This model will help you do a fast analysis of your relationships and figure out where the problem is. Maybe the problem is you. Just like I've discovered that the problem was me. I got to a point where I was like, I don't have intimacy in my relationships. But when I looked really honestly at myself, I was the one who hadn't strengthened those other steps, right? I was the one who hadn't learned how to receive somebody. I hadn't learned how to share vulnerably. That's stuff I had to work on. So what do you want out of a relationship? Figure it out, right? Know going in. Know right now. What are you capable of? And then what's the other person capable of? If you've known them for any even short length of time, you're going to know if when you try to share something, they aren't capable of receiving, or that they've never really shared something vulnerable with you. That gives you information, right? That's great information, because life is too freaking short to waste it in relationships where we want more than the other person's capable of, or more than we're capable of. It's just about releasing those if they'll never arrive where we want them to be, and working at what we can do to contribute to the ones that we really care about. Being able to see clearly. So that's what you're doing today. Try to be as honest as you can with yourself. Those are painful things and painful realizations sometimes. They were for me. But it also is beautiful awareness of where to do your work, where to do your personal work. So if this video today just showed you something about one of your relationships, I would love to see you either write eyeballs in the comments or put an emoji eyeballs to help me know that this is a valuable tool for just understanding where we're at and where we need to go. And tomorrow, don't forget to come on at 9 or watch later as I talk about a simple phrase that will completely shift you away from a negative emotional reaction. We're going to work on that tomorrow. Please share this video with anybody that you know is struggling with why I don't get more out of my relationships than I want. Help them understand what's going on so they know where to go. Okay, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here live. And thank you for watching in replay. I appreciate you.